Hey, 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 hey!
It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to get crazy. It's gonna be loud. This is our house. We do what we wanna. We'll blow the roof up. Everybody's coming. It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to go down.
You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Life is not easy. Life isn't fair. It never was, and it never will be. A good life takes grit, because the best things in life come from hard work, sacrifice, resolve, determination, and perseverance. Because grit means never quitting. It means coming back time and time again until you succeed. So on this show, we talk hunting, we talk outdoors, we talk conservation, we talk family and life. We talk fitness, and we talk strength, strength of body, strength of mind, and strength of character. Prioritize who you are and who you want to be. Get gritty, because life isn't fair, and a little grit can make all the difference. Here we go, folks. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. We're at the Gritty Studio with two awesome guests, two friends of mine, new friends that I met at Bear Camp.
That's right.
Yep. With Jeff Lander, Primitive, in British Columbia. You guys were there for that film that I just released. You guys were in camp with us.
Yes.
And we have with us Mark Erskine, which, dude, Erskine? What is that? I mean, you got the red hair a little bit, so you're obviously like, you got the ginger thing.
Yep, got the ginger thing going.
It's like Scottish?
It's Irish, Scotch-Irish.
Yeah.
So I did the Ancestry.com. I can prove that.
He has the breakdown.
I got the
breakdown
Yeah.
percentage.
Little Viking in there too.
Sweet.
You know?
Yeah, you got to have that. That's what my buddy Dwayne claims. He's all Viking, not so much ginger.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, after seeing Braveheart, their gingers, the
Paint your
all,
face.
yeah, you're
Paint
like
your face half blue.
they're badass too.
Yeah, you don't mess with them.
Yeah. They don't handle the sunshine quite like Arby does.
No, I got torched this last weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, it's bad.
So Arby.
Ivazian.
Ivazian. It's Armenian?
Yes.
And so you look like a terrorist.
Yeah, pretty
For
much.
sure.
Me and my buddy Anthony, we got the same look going on. You know, I always get randomly selected at the TSA. Sir, come this way.
I try to when we were traveling. I'm like, man, can you just stay back a little bit? Like,
this guy goes right through. You're like, sir, you've been randomly selected. I'm like, okay, I'm already ready for this.
I'll be waiting at the snack bar.
Well,
The Aloha snack bar.
You guys are here for the Total Archery Challenge this weekend here in Snowbird, Utah. So you flew in tonight, and you're going to hit the slopes tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow at 9. I think we're doing the prime, and then Friday we'll do the mountain ops.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad we get to do this, because for those listening, we met at Bear Camp, and I didn't know you. It's so cool just to kind of roll up, and it was Matt Davis, myself, and Keith Ailes from our crew, and we're there, and then some random dudes show up, two terrorists.
They're like,
you and Anthony. Yeah.
But then that was one of the funnest camps I've been in a long time. Like,
It was a good time.
it was a good group.
Yeah.
I think that hunt, the camp pretty much made that hunt.
Yeah.
Whether success
for sure.
or not, that camp made that hunt. I mean, we got more one-liners out of that camp than I think I've gotten in the last 10 years of hunting camp.
Don't you think, and everyone was just fun and night. There was no douchebags.
No, it was cool. No. And to your point, like you don't know. I mean, we didn't know. We initially thought that nobody else was going to be in camp.
Yeah.
And I was prepping that the night before we were going to go up, and you had posted something about heading to bear camp, and I saw it, and I'm like, I hit Arby up. I'm like, guess who's going to bear camp? And I didn't know you, but I'd listened to your show, and I think there was a little bit of probably a part of us kind of going, what are these? What are they going to be like?
You never know, right? You never know. I mean, my dad always said when he took me hunting, he goes, if you really want to know, this saying goes with everyone. I think almost dad that we've had said that if you really want to know somebody, take them to hunting with you. Take them to hunting camp.
No, it's true.
Right,
I think,
it's true.
I think especially the more physically demanding the hunt, or the more you have to deal with the elements. If it's cold, wet, hot. It was hot for us. Hot. And you really, I don't have a lot of patience for the guys that are like, that just hate being there.
Yeah.
Because they don't like to be uncomfortable. They don't like to be cold. They don't like to sweat. They don't, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we had a couple of days it was cooking.
Yeah. So Arby has quite the background in doing like what do you call it? Like you have touched people where I never want to.
That's true. I mean, in the beginning, don't get me wrong. I still don't want to touch people in certain places, okay? But it's just my job. I kind of have to.
So you've got to. So tell folks a little bit about yourself.
I live in SoCal. I'm an emergency medicine physician, so ER doctor. So pretty much see anything that walks through the door. I worked and trained at a trauma center, so the traumas we got were, from stabbings to car accidents to slip and falls, everything.
Yeah.
And in between, you get these, weird cases that we've discussed. You guys see some pictures of.
There was something about a cat earlier.
Yeah, so...
And the Gorilla Glue. You got to tell the Gorilla Glue.
So recently I had this case where this guy comes in. I see him pop up on my tracker. So in the ER, there's a big tracker. Whoever signs up, you see their name, you see their complaint.
Okay.
And it said ear pain. I'm like, okay, why is this guy with the ear pain coming to the main side? Because the main side is really where all the sick patients come in.
Okay.
And then you got the fast track, urgent care type of care on the other side. So this guy comes to the main side. I'm like, okay, there's something going on. So I go in there. I'm talking to him. So he believed that the Trump administration had put some microchips in his ears by his brain to control him. So he thought, what's a good way of
They're making me take drugs.
Right. Exactly, right? So he's like, how could I get this out without, hurting myself in a bad way? So he comes up with the idea of taking Gorilla Glue, which is pretty much like super glue, if not stronger. I don't know, but it's pretty nasty stuff once it binds. And he poured it into his ears.
What does that happen? What does that do to a person?
If you've seen Gorilla Glue dry, it expands. It expands as it dries. So when it started to expand, it kind of came out and kind of made this giant cauliflower ears made of just Gorilla Glue.
It's kind of rubberized too, isn't it?
No, it's rock hard.
Oh, is it? It's rock hard.
I'm tugging on it, his whole head's coming off. So, after a while, we got to take him to the OR. He got intubated, sedated, and the Dremel tools came out where we started to kind of drill some of this stuff off.
Unreal.
But it wasn't a one day thing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we sat there in bear camp. We're all flinging arrows down range at the targets because we're in camp all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Arby's just flicking through photos on the iPhone of these images that you would not believe unless you saw them. Of people that have walked through your doors.
Yeah, I'm always worried about somebody finding my phone and going through it.
This guy's a freak.
What's this guy doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that. There's the cat.
Yeah, what's the cat?
The cat story.
This is new for me.
It was a really hot summer.
Yeah.
This guy comes in with a cut on top of his head. So it was all bandaged up by the firefighters, and he was kind of out of it. So I'm like, okay, he hit his head somewhere. He's not really conscious. Mm-hmm. Ordered all this blood work stuff. Went to send him to the CAT scan to get, a CAT scan of the head, make sure there's no brain bleed and all that stuff. He comes back. I'm busy seeing a bunch of other people in the ER department. The nurse comes back and tells me, hey, doc, he's bleeding again. I'm like, okay, this is not good. So I pop my head in there. I look at the wound. I'm like, no, it's not bleeding. What are you talking about? He goes, no, he's not bleeding from there. He's bleeding from down there. I'm like, what?
In the man region?
Yeah, in the
in the groin area.
Right, in the groin area. He's
this general area.
And then the sheet is just covered in blood. Like, wow, he didn't have that when he came in. So I kind of look at it and it just looks like lacerations on his, on his scrotum. And he was completely out. He kind of came to family members came by, and I'm like, what happened? Well, it was really hot, like I said. He was walking around his house naked.
Okay. Happens.
Something, So something fell on the floor. He kind of reaches over to grab it, and his jewels are just dangling. The cat comes by. He sees these things dangling, lunges, hooks his claws into it.
Really?
He jumps up, hits his back of his head on the pole that was hanging there, knocks himself out.
No way.
Okay.
I could not make this stuff
If there was never a better case to not have a cat, there you have it right there.
So the cat messed him up.
The cat
and
messed him up.
Bleeding everywhere.
He made it. He's fine. He got home.
Oh,
He
wow.
went home the next day. So that's
When I got bit by my dog, a big dog, like a giant dog. But when I was dealing with this dog bite, right? They were checking it out, and then the guy at the emergency room sewed it shut.
Yeah.
And it was a big bite, like big hole, tore a big hole. So sews it shut, and I guess he was supposed to leave it open.
Yeah. What part of your body was it on?
My ankle.
Ankle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Usually the hands and feet you want to keep open because the bacteria that's in the dog's mouth kind of likes like a closed environment.
Yeah.
You want to kind of aerate it out and let it heal from inside out.
So he sewed it shut, and it turned black.
Got nasty.
In a day, and then it was infected, and I was in the hospital with antibiotic IVs for 20,
Got to keep it open.
12 hours or something and then they had to open it up, and I swear it made it like so much worse than if he just left it open.
Yeah, you're
right?
supposed to just keep it open. Wound care, things like that.
But I'm in there, and I'm looking at, you can see like the artery down there, like tick, tick, ticking, pulsing, because the dog's tooth just kind of nicked it barely. And, but the doctor was like, "You're going to be fine." I'm like, okay, great. Good. I mean, I figured I would be. He's like, "You're going to be fine." Comes back later. We've checked everything. The infection's going to stop. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's just a dog bite. I mean, you know. He's like, "No, you're going to be fine." Nurse comes in. She's like, "Everything's looking good." I'm like, it's just a bite, right? Like,
why is everyone
trying to convince me of yourselves?
And she's like, she tells me, "Oh yeah, a girl died yesterday that had been bitten by a cat, and they just didn't do much." And then,
great.
And then she went home, and she just died from the infection.
Wow.
And I was like, what? So then I started looking up, Googling dog bites and
how bad
death from bites.
Yeah.
Human bites are the most lethal.
It's worst.
They kill more people
Right.
from the bacteria in a human than any other.
They call them the fight bites. And people when they fight, they punch each other. They get a cut from the tooth on their arm, the finger, and they kind of ignore it.
Yep.
But the infection sets in and just starts spreading.
Yeah.
A lot quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were saying so leading cause was, and cats were like second or third. Like you don't want to get bit by a cat.
No.
It's like deadly. Like a Komodo dragon. and then like dogs were like number 10 on the list.
Yeah.
Way down there. I'm like, wow, did not know that.
Yeah.
So
It's like that.
yeah, things you learn. I don't want to be in the ER.
Things you see too, but I
Yeah.
like my job.
Well, Mark,
Yeah.
you're not as fascinating
Not nearly as fascinating. No.
in terms of day to day.
Right. Yeah.
So tell folks about you.
I also live in SoCal, but grew up in the Northwest as we found out at camp. Yeah.
Rival high school.
That's
He
right.
went, he went to my rival high school.
Yeah, on the other side of the tracks.
He went to the rich side.
He was on the wrong side of the tracks.
I was on the ghetto side. So
Yeah, small world. But yeah, I've been in SoCal, and I'm in sales. I'm in the car business. Been in the car business most of my life, and just have a passion for the outdoors. Just love to fish and hunt. And
So which of you was like the hunter? You both met as hunters? Like, how did this happen? How did you guys meet?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're both. Our buddy Russ Meyer.
Russ Meyer from Outdoors International.
Yeah. We had hooked up with him to do a hunt in Texas, right?
yeah, it was like we threw a bunch of guys together, and
Russ knew me for a while. He knew him for a while. He kind of got his old friends together, kind of do a hunt together on this ranch in Texas, and that's where I met Mark. And we kind of hit it off. Again, it was a cool camp.
Yeah.
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 Mostly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
it was not totally cool.
There was a guy.
There was just one.
There was.
The hunting was okay, but I mean, it wasn't any one of our fault or the guide's fault. It was just, the way it was.
Yeah.
But, great group of guys.
Yep.
Me and Mark kind of touched base afterwards. And
so you guys have both been bow hunting for a while. How long ago did you start, Mark?
I think it's been about 5 years now, 6 years.
And how old are you now? Same age as me?
46.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started late in life. Fished my whole life. And then was a rifle hunter originally. And I had some friends that were like, man, you got to get a bow. And I was kind of thinking like, God, do I need another $1,200 piece of equipment? It's just kind of.
And misery?
Yeah, exactly.
Failure.
I'm like, it's hard enough. I'm thinking this is hard enough rifle hunting.
Right.
But, so I ended up getting a bow and, told myself, all right, I'm going to practice. I'm going to, practice hard for a year before I do anything. But so I booked an antelope hunt like a year out. So I had something to shoot for.
Yeah.
And I shot religiously for a year and just got comfortable and worked and had some great, mentors along the way. Bob Fromm really helped me out and some other guys. And I the biggest thing for me with archery is, it was really therapeutic. Like the practice was for me mentally soothing, and I just got hooked. And then the interactions that I had with nature and the animals and hunting. I just never say never, but if I don't ever pick up a rifle again, I'd be fine. I love it. I'm hooked.
And RV.
I picked up a bow and arrow back in 2000, right after I graduated from high school. Yeah, I mean, I've been hunting with my dad and grandpa for ever since I was a young kid, but just rifle, shotgun, and neither of them bow hunt. My grandpa thinks, why pick up a bow when you could pick up a rifle? But he's old school.
So
he's
is my grandpa.
He's like,
he
doesn't.
This is dumb.
Yeah.
You go out and you kill stuff to eat it. Like,
right.
why?
He doesn't look at antler size. He just
fair chase is like,
just
what's
likes
the
to meet.
point?
He
I
just
mean,
wants to meet.
Yeah, it's a generation.
But back then, like, he would do that to, sustain himself and his family. It was different.
Yeah.
But I knew nothing about archery. I think I saw a video of Chuck Adams, and I kind of lit fire. Went to a bow shop. I'm like, hey, I want a bow hunt, right? So I picked up my bow. And I remember it was like May 2nd of 2000 when I picked up my bow. That Memorial Day weekend, I went out and shot my first pig. I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is easy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pumped.
I am amazing.
I'm gonna go.
Did you see what I did?
And then I had a 4-year dry spell after that. Nothing. Nothing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And then from there, just like I kept stuck to it, and then it just started happening.
Yeah.
One after the other. So ever since then, I've been bow hunting.
So when you had your dry spell, like, did you not get shot opportunities? You just didn't make the shots.
Didn't get the shot opportunities because I was still the rifle hunter mentality. I didn't know how to creep up on an animal, stalk an animal,
watch the wind,
all that stuff, and just through trial and error. And of course, some of them were missed shot opportunities because I would target panic.
Yeah.
I started doing 3D shoots where people would like watch me in a big crowd. That kind of, stimulated the same anxiety, fear of missing the target. And then kind of started slowing things down. And that's when I started to realize, hey, I'm getting better. Got more confident, and then started happening. And 4 years, just my wife would just, but what are you doing? Armed hiking? Pretty much. Like say, you take your bow take your bow. I mean, she's great. I love my wife. She lets me do whatever I want with my hobbies, and it's great. But she kind of always encouraged me to stick with it. It'll happen. It'll happen.
With the bow, you shoot a thumb release.
Yeah.
How long have you used that?
About 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before that, you were using like a wrist rocket.
Yeah.
Index release.
Yeah. I mean, once I went to the thumb, my groups got a lot more accurate. Smaller groups.
Yeah.
It's usually past like 40 to 60 yards when I started noticing good change.
What do you attribute to that?
I think it's a cleaner release. It's a cleaner release when like we talked about earlier, when you're pulling, with your back tension, and you're kind of almost surprised when it goes off. You know when it's going to go off because your tension is getting, your back tension is getting there. But it's not, you're not punching it. You're not.
Right.
Even that subtle punching it, past 60 yards makes a big difference down range.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever go back to the wrist because I'm just so used to it. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me like good 2 weeks because my anchor changed, my point of impact changed.
Yeah.
But I'm just used to it now.
I'm shooting that knock to it from John Dudley, and have had it about 2 weeks. And I'm just curious because I'm shooting a thumb release for the first time like every day.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. And for a hunting scenario, I think it's probably going to suit me better, at least right now. I honestly enjoy shooting with the hinge, and I want to shoot with the hinge as much as I can, just because I think it helps me. I just can't anticipate the shot or make it go off it
when you want it to.
Yeah. Like I don't punch it with the hinge, but I don't punch it right now with the thumb either. It's still a surprise each time. Like I don't know.
Like you said, if you want to let it go,
but I can if I want to.
You get the option.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. What about you, Mark? What do you?
What do I? From a release standpoint, I've got a trigger, our Carter RX1. I think is what I'm shooting. But I've started. I probably have as much tied up in releases now as I do a bow. I've got a back tension. I've also got a thumb release as well, and I've been tried to incorporate them in different aspects. Like I'll shoot the back tension at close range just to kind of work on form.
Yeah,
and it's definitely helped. But I'm still most comfortable with the trigger release. And I haven't noticed that much of a drop off in grouping to the point where I'm like, I gotta, do something drastic and change. But
yeah, I've seriously considered going and just shooting with the trigger because I've never had any trigger panic or any real problems with the trigger.
Yeah.
But when I went to a hinge, just long range, I just shot much tighter groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't take those shots on wild animals anyway.
No.
Right.
So I'm kind of like the reliability of that index release just at 40 or 50 yards and in is just fine for most of the animals I hunt.
Right. Exactly.
So I've thought about, at times I'm like, why am I trying something more like technical or whatever?
With me, you're right. I practice out to 100 yards, 110. I will never shoot an animal at that distance because I'm not confident to.
Right.
But when you do make a good shot at, 80, 90, 100 yards and consistently are making good shots, that confidence that you end up getting speaks volumes.
It also, I think, it's weird. I think I have less anxiety a lot of times when I'm shooting 80 and 90 because I just let the thing float.
Yeah, you're relaxed.
And I relax. And I just am like, it's so far away in the sight picture. Yeah. And you're just like letting it just sit there and it just goes. Mm-hmm. So you trust the process more than when you're closer and you can actually force the pin to settle on the dot.
It's funny
when that happens, you're like, now.
Yeah, punch it.
And I just don't do that at long range.
You don't.
And so I practice a lot close too because I know in the past that I've actually struggled more at 30 yards
than at distance
than I do at like 70.
Right.
So as far as that goes,
absolutely,
with the shooting,
absolutely.
You guys have been on some cool hunts.
Yeah.
Especially been able to travel and do some. And so what's some of the coolest hunts you've been on?
Man, I'm trying to probably I mean, I was fortunate when I first started. I found success early, and I think a lot of it was luck. Honestly, I got lucky early.
Yeah.
I think each hunt has they're all special to me in their own way. I think probably one of the coolest hunts that I went to New Zealand, kind of like you were just recently there. I went. I was a year ago in the spring, about the same time, and it pushed me. From a mental and physical standpoint in a way that I thought I was prepared for the hunt.
Yeah.
And, you say it's physically demanding and people are like, well, what was the altitude? And it wasn't that it was 10,000 feet because it's not, but it's this to this, to this, to this.
And it's straight up and down.
It's this all day. And it's wet and it's big brush and it's dragging you down. And I got to a point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get up on day 9 and do this anymore, but I did. And it was a great hunt. I ended up, shooting a tar, but we never found it, unfortunately, but it was an awesome hunt. And then, I always hunt the late season over the counter archery deer hunt in Arizona. My folks live up in northern Arizona, and I just love that hunt. It's just relaxing for me, and my dad can go with me. And he's not a hunter per se, like that's not his thing, but we just get to share a special time, like out glassing, and it's just fun to be with.
Over the counter deal.
Yeah, just an over the counter tag, and there's good deer there, but it's really just about spending time with my dad and being out there, and we get on stalks and it's fun, and he loves watching it. And,
dude, I went with Randy Newberg to Arizona last year. Actually, it was like February, but it was such a cool place to just hang out and visit and chill. You were in t-shirts. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was like having a siesta down at the, it's right on the border of Mexico. Nice. And then you get on some stalks and you chase some stuff, and then you come back and you eat delicious food and hang out. And it was like, this is my kind of hunting. We were in a hacienda. There was no tent.
That's always nice. You can't argue with that.
So there was a whole. I hear what you're saying. Like there's this whole feel around that kind of hunt. That's it's not hardcore backcountry mountain hunting like New Zealand.
It's not.
But it's still awesome.
It is fun. Yeah.
And I didn't come close to killing a coos deer, which was what I was trying to do. I mean, that's still on the bucket list.
Yeah.
As are tar, which is much to my disappointment. At least
they're
with the
tough,
bow.
man. They're tough.
The last day I broke out the cheater bar.
Yeah.
And I shot him at 440 yards. So, and it was fun.
I don't blame you, man. I was this close, and even when we left, the guide's like, "Man, I admire you for sticking with that bow this whole time. Like you're gonna ride it to the death. Like you're not putting
tough.
it down.
It's tough when you got the guide carrying a gun or
What did you think of New Zealand?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, I was blown away by the just the landscape, and the people were really nice, and I don't know what you thought, but there were times when I'm driving along and it, like, if you had blindfolded me and said, okay, where do you think you are? I would have said, oh, I'm in Wyoming, or I'm on the Oregon coast, just vastly different landscapes.
Absolutely. For some reason in my head, I knew they had those mountains because I'd watched Adam Greentree and, various people go to New Zealand and hunt stag. But for some reason, I thought as you flew in, it looked like Hawaii all along the ocean. like
Jurassic Park.
Like it just like epic tropical forest, and then you get these mountains. Yeah. I didn't realize it wasn't quite like that. No. I think I've heard that there's some spots like that, but I was impressed with New Zealand. It was a bizarre place though, due to all the invasive species that now live there and have foothold. It's in the bizarre ecosystem that's all
it is
out
funky.
of whack. Yeah.
Yeah, we ran into.
You can just tell nature did not make that place.
No.
Humans did.
Yeah. It's like the animals don't like what?
It's like billions of rabbits. I mean, just like rabbits as far as I could see.
Those and the mini kangaroos on the name.
Wallaby.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of wallaby, running around.
Did you see the possums? The possums.
I never saw a possum, but
and they all
I heard they're
right?
everywhere.
Yeah, and they're really funky. I mean, they're different than the possums here.
Yeah.
They, I guess,
kind of bug-eyed looking,
and they have a really, really great coat. They, I guess, brought them in for the fur trade.
Yeah, when I think possum,
really
I think ugly Oregon.
Yeah, we think
these
possums,
nasty skin.
Yeah.
These are like root beer brown, and they just have this really subtle,
they
really
look kind
soft
of like a
coat.
chinchilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Bit, like that fur. Yeah, well, I got a guy that follows Gritty. He wrote in. His name is Haas Herbert, I think, on Instagram. He said, I'm going to run this by you. All Tell me what you think. I just listened to your latest podcast. There was a point made on there that I feel compelled to follow up on and settle once and for all. I believe I am somewhat more qualified than the majority of the population on this topic, if not one of the most qualified people ever. To elaborate, my mom is an Aussie and my dad is a Kiwi. I was born in Australia and moved to New Zealand at about 2, where I grew up. Since I was an adult, I have spent many years living and working in both countries. For the last 10 years, I have lived in Australia, and the last 8 working for a Kiwi company. So for all the Australians and Kiwis listening, this is great. A lot of my staff are in New Zealand, and I'm there at least once a month. The topic that lit me up was pies. some suggestion and speculation that Aussie pies could be better than New Zealand pies. Quite simply, they are not. Aussie pies are garbage. I never eat pies here. However, if I'm in New Zealand for a week, I will have at least 2 meals of pies. So he said, if you want yet even more impartial opinion, I have a French guy who works for me. He agrees New Zealand pies are way better. So all this anecdotal evidence is, he said, by all means, travel to Australia to come hunting, visit the people, but don't come here on a pie quest. You'll be sorely disappointed. So anyway, he asked me to make that retraction on the podcast. So There we go. The pies, dude. What'd you think, Mark?
Delicious. Yeah.
Weren't they?
They were. And I can, I think I have to agree with him. I capped my trip off with 72 hours in Sydney.
Did you?
Just, I'm like, I've come this far. I got to at least just jump over there and check it out. And, yeah, I agree.
I can't wait to go back. That's how I feel about New Zealand.
Yeah.
I've hunted a lot of places and I'm not sure what it is. I'm still trying to put my finger on it. What it is that I loved about New Zealand. But I just loved it from start to finish.
That's awesome. For me, it felt like it beat me.
Really?
I felt like I lost. I mean, experience aside, like it was, I mean, I'm not discounting it because it was amazing. Like the takeaways are still incredible, but just, you know, I take a lot of pride in my preparation and just, you know, being focused and I got down there and it just owned me. I mean, it just really, there were times when I'm like, man, like I really had to dig deep.
And you were hunting tar
and stag.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mixed it up. We bounced around a lot, saw a lot of different country.
Yeah, well, I felt like, and we saw a lot of tar.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, it was a target-rich environment, but it was so many tar.
Too many, probably.
Yeah. I mean, when you see like 300 or 400 on a hill and then you're trying to sneak up on one.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, and you're with guys that are like, you know, we were with Sam Manson and our buddy Sean Roach with it's Cadrona Safaris.
Okay.
And so Casey and Jordan have been there before, and a few other friends of mine like Dallas Haymeyer and with Hunt the Experience. And so they're good dudes. We go up there, but they live there, you know, they love what they're doing and they know a good tar, like a mature tar to just an average tar. Mm-hmm. I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I'm like, just let me shoot any of them.
It takes a little time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then when you're moving in on them, and there's, I don't know, a couple hundred, and you're after one in that 100, and you're trying to sneak past them. And we didn't have a lot of cliffs in some of this area. It was more gradual. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough to get onto that many eyeballs. But we hunted in a couple spots that were just straight up vertical.
Yeah, that's what blew me away was the terrain. And again, it's not 10,000. It's 3,000 vertical feet, but it's straight up and down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have to cover like, you know, I think it was you have to cover a mile, you know, at 1,000 feet elevation, or even steeper. It's like you start to. It doesn't matter if it's
day in and day out.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's high altitude or not. That would add another element. But
absolutely.
I mean, I spent so much time last year, even the year before, hiking, just with a backpack, day in and day out, living in Colorado next to some of the steepest, most gnarly country there.
Yeah.
I was able to train. I live at 8,000 feet altitude. So for me, I didn't feel any fatigue or tiredness and stuff because I just have done it for so much.
Yeah.
But
I struggle at sea level. I mean, I live at sea level.
Yeah.
And it's no matter what I do, whenever I get to altitude,
when I went to we lived at 50 feet elevation in rugged Oregon City.
Yeah.
And and when I first went to Colorado and hunted with Snyder, we hit the mountains, climbed up there. Dude, I sucked wind for 6 months. They say, like, if you get there, if you have 3 days, you can acclimate.
I don't know.
It took me like a year.
It takes a while.
Yeah, I don't know. There must be levels of acclimation. Like, acclimate meaning it won't kill you, but you're still going to suffer.
You're going to be sucking wind still.
So I I don't know. I felt like that wasn't the part that was tough on me. It was the tar itself. It was much more wily, much more skittish, much more alert.
Yeah.
Wary animal.
Just harder to kill than I expected.
They're twitchy.
I thought we were going to walk up there, and then I thought they'd be like a mountain goat a little bit, where they kind of stood there and were
They
like,
never stop moving.
they never stop, and when they see you, they bolt.
Yeah.
Like the ones we were after, they were like, "Dude, gone."
Gone.
And you're whistling, you're like trying to distract them. There's none of that. It's like, and we threw out some ideas for that, but given that the fact that their only predator is a human,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're like here, an animal has all sorts of predators, and a predator might come along that is not a human, and then often a human will come along that's not a predator, right? So they see a lot of humans, like these deer in the backyard here. They don't get killed by people. They get a little comfortable with them. Up there, I swear those tar are like, if there's a human, there's a bullet. Like they know
They're out.
So they're just like, they're different, man. I don't know. They were cool species.
Yeah. They're a super cool animal.
So I want to talk to you guys about the bear hunt.
Yeah.
We didn't really recap any of that while we were there. Didn't have time. We kind of like, all of us were trying so hard, especially to get bears. And since Arby, you got yours on that last day, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Was
yeah.
it? Was
Second
it?
to
was
last
second
day.
to the last day.
We
but
recovered it on the
you
last
found
day.
it in the afternoon on the last day.
Yeah, it was a good bear.
And I got mine last day, and
I did not. I was not successful.
you never really got a shot. You never got drawn back, did you?
I was full draw on one at 30, but he was facing us head down, and just there was this light drift of wind.
Yeah.
And I think it was just we were there long enough waiting for that shot because it was just head. There was nothing to shoot at, and he kind of started to turn, and there was nothing there. It was like head gone.
Yeah.
And that was it.
No warning.
That was the one by the swamp bottom, right?
I've seen
that
bears
was a nice
do
bear.
that so many
Just
times.
Yeah.
Like someone shot him out of a cannon.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be on that bear, but that angle was bad.
I thought for sure that was it, man. But yeah. And then I think I got on two other stalks if you count the grizzly, if you count the accidental grizzly.
I saw this back.
This was after you shot yours.
Yeah,
after you shot
back
yours.
end of a bear.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, I just saw a bear.
It was getting dark. It was starting. I mean, not dark, but we're heading kind of cruising back.
And they're like, okay, what are you talking about? I'm like, no,
It's huge. It's big.
I just saw
big bear.
Big bear. Like the back end of a bear was like just right around the corner. And then they're like, okay, let's get out of the car. We get out. Sure enough, right when I said he turned the corner, you could see fresh, pile and his tracks. Huge tracks.
Yeah.
Not enough for us to see what.
And I'm no
whatever.
bear expert, right? So it's
Right.
not like
So this is both of you. Is this your first bear hunts?
my first bear hunt.
Yours, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, Arby, you've been on a bear
Yeah,
hunt.
I've been on bear hunts. And then you can take it from there. I mean,
Well, as we had discussed earlier in camp, you were saying, close the distance. Like if there's distance to close it.
Yeah.
I'm for me with bears, and this is something that's interesting. Like when I was hunting bears, I'm super comfortable because I've done it enough that you get a feel for an animal and you get confident.
yeah.
Using a hinge release in that situation, I'm just like, this bear's
issue.
going to die.
Yeah.
I go to a foreign place. I go someplace else. I go with an animal that's different, and I really want it really bad. And all of a sudden, trying to make those shots is a different ballgame, and it's been an eye opener.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm like, if there's a bear there, they wander and they move so fast, and because you can, as long as the wind is good, you can pretty much just get there.
Yeah.
Close the distance as fast
They
as you
look like
can.
they're moving slow.
They're not.
They're not.
no.
I mean, if you're jogging, you can maybe catch up to them, but
I think that was the thing that most guys fail when they're doing spot and stalk bear is they're used to a deer, they're used to an elk or something,
Yeah.
and bears will be there, and you're like, okay, it's just sitting there eating grass. You don't have the luxury of taking 30 minutes to do a stalk.
No.
You just kind of got to run in, guns blazing, hope he doesn't hear you,
exactly.
and get there because he'll just be sitting there and then boom and walk off.
Yeah.
And then once he goes in the trees, it's over.
Yeah. So I'm doing that.
Yeah.
You're at the truck.
You're moving in fast.
The guide isn't, I'm just going to go. The guide's like, well, just go. I'll catch you. And so Yeah, I'm basically like running, until I can't see it. But I know, the bear's heading down the road, and I now I get sight on, I got eyes on it. It's still moving away, so I'm, slow down a little bit, try to be a little still, but I'm still moving at a pretty good clip, and I'm, trying to range every once in a while, and I get to like 70, and the bear is behind this huge like in front of this huge root wad that's tipped over, and it's, fast forward, it's not a big grizzly, right? So it's not like it's an 800-pound grizzly.
Right.
It was a smaller, like a older female.
Could be the size of a black bear.
It looked like a big.
And there's a lot of black
could
bear.
have been a big black bear.
There's a lot of black bear that are as big or bigger than most grizzlies.
Yeah.
So
Right.
So I'm looking at through my rangefinder, and it's dark enough that I'm, kind of doing one of these, and I'm like, so the thing stops and it turns, and it's looking at me. I'm looking at it, and it kind of takes a couple steps forward, and I'm just like, I don't think this
doesn't
feels
smell right.
This doesn't feel good. And I look back at Ryan, the guide's like, he's still far away, and he's kind of looking at me and giving these hand signals, and I don't know what, I don't know if he's telling me to go or come back.
It's a grizzly.
I'm like,
right.
what is this?
That's right.
I didn't.
He was giving the little claws like,
it's a grizzly.
So he gets up on him. He's like, yeah, dude, I think that's a grizzly. We gotta go. No gun, no spray. Everything was like,
Yeah, you guys hauled
we
back.
just go. Yeah, because you had just gotten yours. And I'm like, all right, like I'm happy for you. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, here's my shot.
Yeah.
I thought he was on him.
Were you guys surprised how many grizzlies?
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw a couple. We saw
There was that 8-footer that there was in that open field, right?
Yeah.
You guys saw.
the thing was
We saw a couple on that
just
road.
huge.
They're
Yeah,
just giants.
ran into them on mountain bikes.
Yeah, they're giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What surprised me about the two species, having not been on a bear hunt, really been around bears as much as just the demeanor to me. The black bears to me, they just kind of look at it like, oh, like what's going on? They're a little curious, and the grizzly just kind of has this like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
are you lost?
Yeah. Are you,
know?
really
Yeah.
looking at me?
Yeah.
Look the other way.
Yeah, like a bully.
Yeah.
Just a bully. That's what it is.
Did you? So what? Like, what impressed you the most about bear hunting? Like, what was the takeaway from this? Like, is it in your blood?
Yeah, I liked it way more than I thought I would. Just based on what I'd heard about it. And I really liked my goal. I think our goal was we wanted to hunt spot and stalk. Like I didn't really want to sit in a tree. Not that I'm opposed to that, but I like that style of hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And there you can do it.
there you can do it. Yeah, Jeff's runs an operation.
Very conducive to
Spot and stalk.
sneaking up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I just loved that interaction, like getting that close to bears. I mean, because, we got 30, 40 yards on some, which is, I know you get much closer, but I thought, man, this is really cool. Like, because
It's just something about hunting a big predator.
you're not apex
And-
anymore.
No.
No. Yeah. And being in that country with grizzly bears, just the habitat, the animals you see, and you're after a bear, it's just a great feeling.
Yeah. So RV, this is a big bear that you shot.
Yeah,
you
you
shot
had
a
a nice
great
one.
bear.
Yeah. It was, I think, one of the funnest stalks I've ever had. And then one of the longest.
It was a crazy stock. It was a great
This
stock.
story is great.
It is
Yeah,
great.
this,
It is great.
I mean, I saw that bear like around 7:10 at night. Mm-hmm. But, it gets dark there like around, 10:30?
Yeah,
Something
pretty
like
late.
that. 10 is pretty much like the last shooting light you get. So I saw him around like 7:10, get out, putting a stalk on him. The wind is pretty good. It's blowing right in my face. But the bear hears me, but doesn't really see where I'm at.
Yeah.
Kind of goes back in that thick stuff. He's a smart bear, like super smart bear. He knows which way the wind was blowing. He would go do a circle and get downwind of me and try to catch my scent because he would come out. I would see him put his nose up and do this, scent me, and just go back in. So I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to play this count mouse game. Little did I know it was going to take 2 hours and about almost 2 miles. It was like 1.8 miles from where I saw him to where I shot him because we drove the truck through and we actually
And I can picture
measured.
what's going through your mind because you're like, dude, tomorrow we leave.
Yeah,
This bear,
So,
something's
yeah.
dying
I'm like,
tonight.
I saw this. I'm like, I am not letting you go. I am not. So he would run in. So I would like, okay, you know what? I'm going to dash like 300 yards. I would like run on that road 300 yards.
Just a logging road.
Yeah, just logging road. Like run. Stop, kind of listen. I could hear him in the brush. And then he would come again, like 50, 60 yards downwind of me. And we did this, like just this relay team of like he would tag me and he would send me, run in. I would run. Finally, I think.
What's interesting is he's going through the trees at about the same pace you are.
Right.
But, I mean, by the time you catch up and try to pass him.
Yeah, no matter how much the last little effort I put in was about 400 yards. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to run another 400 yards. And I would run and sit, and he would know where I was just by my sound of, on the trail running. At that point, I didn't care about sound because I'm like, it's the last day. I'm going to try to
get aggressive.
Right. And I think you guys rolled up in the truck.
We dropped you off, and we took off way down the road.
Yeah.
And then we were coming back.
And then Ryan's like, dude, how far did you run?
And plus, what people don't know is like when the bears hear a car coming, they go in the trees, let the car pass, and then they come right back out and start eating grass again on the roadside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, how far did you run? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not letting this bear go. I'm not getting in the truck. He's like, no, I'll go drop you off over there. He's like, no, I'm going over there. You leave me alone. I'll come back and get me. So about 2 hours later, we kind of regroup. And then he's like, oh, the bear popped up again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get on him. But the wind wasn't right. But the wind was blowing just past him. Mm-hmm. And when we talked about how bears seem like they're slow, but they're fast, I would range him at about 65, 70. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to close the distance to like 50.
Yeah.
Still 60's far because my adrenaline's pumping. I'm running. It would look like he would take 4 or 5 steps. And I would range him again, and he was still at 65, 70. I'm like, what? I'm like, I just ran like 15, 20 yards, So I kept doing that until finally at 60 yards, I'm like, I'm going to take my shot. I feel confident now. It's the last day. I'm going to take my shot. And after that, like I told you, everything was a blur. I don't even know how my pins went up and anything, and just the shot went in. And it was a good shot. Yeah. It was a Corningway shot, and I ended up getting the bear the next day because we backed out because the grizzly bears were there.
Yep. Yeah, and it was dark. It was dark.
It was dark
at that point.
Once you get into that thick stuff, the ferns, it's like super dark in there.
And if you leave the bear alone, he could go in there and just lay down.
Exactly.
And then you find him tomorrow. You go in there and he's not expired.
Yeah,
he could attack you, or he could get up and leave. And when a bear decides, okay,
when you push them,
I'm going to go. They could go a long way, and that country's too thick to afford that.
It's really thick.
And,
and they don't bleed.
On this hunt, I used the Rage Hypodermic Plus, the P Plus. And because I know from past experience and what people have told me, they don't bleed. You want a big cut on a bear.
Yeah.
And you saw that cut. It was a giant cut that it cut inside, but there was no blood.
Yeah.
There was no blood until literally 20 yards. He ran about 100 yards and died. Mm-hmm. We cut 20 yards before we found him is when we saw the first blood.
Yeah. I noticed, when you go to skin a bear, picture like a Shar-Pei, like a dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the skin just kind of like rolls back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. It's just so loose on the actual dog.
Yeah.
And it's like the fur behind the shoulder can slide almost to the butt. Then it can slide back to the shoulder.
It's like a really big person losing weight, and that excess skin is just because that's what they are.
And what I noticed on bears, when you put a hole through them and the arrow passes through, you've got that Shar-Pei skin over the top of the bear. The bear skin's so big and loose, and so when you shoot and the arrow goes in, this hide just slips right over the hole.
Right, and the exit's pretty much.
The hole in the hide now. Only way for the animal to bleed is for the hole in the hide to line up with the hole in the body
for it to squirt out.
So it can squirt out,
unless it's bleeding through its mouth.
But it doesn't do that very much. The hide just is so large and it moves. Right. So I have seen where you put like a 2.5 inch hole in it with some giant rage blade, where it lines up with that hole more just because the skin's so large. Yeah. But some of it, I think, is just
But I
luck.
mean,
it's just
look at the height on them at this time of year. You know, when we were hunting them in May, the height on your bear was so thick.
the coat on mine was
Yeah.
The coat. Yeah.
legit.
Amazing.
Yeah. And
Really pretty bear.
And it's like 5 inches long, 6 inches, in some spots.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that's
and that just
soaks
like
up.
the wool looking underlayer.
Yep.
That would just soak up all that blood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how did it feel when you found the bear?
Oh, well, I'll tell you how we found the bear. So it was me, Anthony, and Ryan initially looking for it, and then Jeff rolls up with Gary and Matt Davis, yeah. And they're like, "How's it going, guys?" I'm like, "Not good. We haven't found blood. It's been about 80 yards, and you know that stuff is thick." I found the trail where he ran through, where he like kind of ripped the moss apart.
Then it blends with where they were the day before, the day after that.
Is this fresh? Is not. So we're just playing that game. I'm like, okay, there's a river down there. Maybe he went down to the river. You know, it's kind of it's injured. It's maybe going downhill. And then I come around the corner, and I found this fern just covered in blood. And then, like, 10 seconds later, I hear Matt Davis on a log just screaming, "Woohoo! I got your bear!"
That's awesome.
And I'm glad all those guys were there because we took a bunch of cool pictures. And,
pictures were really cool.
They helped me drag it out.
Every hunter has experienced that, you know, at some point or another. Usually, just that moment where you're just looking and looking and looking, and you're like, it's not just that you're trying to find that animal and you're trying to dispatch a wounded animal, and there's all these things that are at play.
Yeah.
There's also, it's tough when you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, did it die? Did it not die?
Yeah, when you don't see it die.
You start second guessing yourself and playing it back. And
last thing anyone
make
of us
the right
want to do
decision?
is to injure the animal, right? And I mean, sleepless night. Because you just replaying that scenario in your mind. Maybe I shouldn't have shot. Maybe I shot too far back, or all this stuff. You know, you. I don't know how many times I pulled my arrow off that quiver and smelled it, looked at the blood, put some lights on a different angle. Like, here, what do you think?
run some tests
what
on
do
it.
you think?
Everybody smelled it.
Everybody smelled it. Everybody saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's part of the game, you know.
Yeah.
Turned out good.
Yeah. That was my second time hunting bears in BC, and I'd been there one other time for moose in the fall.
Same spot.
Same exact spot.
Okay.
Yeah. Only because there was so much snow. This is the first year that I hunted down by more in the residential areas.
Right.
You know,
Down low.
We hunted up in the wilderness in the big tracks that first year. That we hunted bears, and the same thing when we hunted moose. But this, they had an odd spring and summer there this year, and the bears were
A lot of snow, I think, right? Didn't they
Yeah.
have a ton of snow? Yeah.
We went up to where we wanted to go. Nothing was green because it was still under snow and just barely melted like a few days earlier. But I just love it up there.
It's pretty country.
I just love it.
Yeah.
And the Giardio spring was pretty good too, right?
Yeah.
Mosquitoes, yeah.
Yeah. The mosquitoes were intense this year. I've been there when I was there before. It wasn't like that.
Wasn't that bad? Yeah.
No, but I think it just depends, you know, time of year and weather. So it varies so much. So Total Archery Challenge. Have you guys done it before?
No, first time.
It's the first time, yeah. We signed up almost like back in January.
We were
You're doing Mountain
We were at
Ops.
SCI when we signed up. Yeah.
Exactly.
What was the other course?
Prime and Mountain Ops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, they're all awesome. That mountain is awesome.
Oh, I saw that mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It is. It's just an amazing event.
I think it'll be a good, you know, refresher of your skills or tuning right before hunting season, you know.
Yes.
I mean, what better place than the mountaintops?
Yeah.
You know?
That's one thing. You just get all these, you know, we've been shooting back here behind the office, shooting down at the range, and you're shooting at targets, and it's a lot of square blocks.
Yeah.
You know, then you get up there and you're shooting these steep angles, you're shooting through trees, you're shooting uphill, you're shooting in all these real world scenarios when you're out hunting, especially if you're mountain hunting out west. And you really learn what you can and can't do and what your equipment can do and so on. And when you have a group of guys that put a lot of pressure on you too, then you're like, okay, it's fun to practice out to 100, but I shouldn't be shooting a live animal at that range.
No.
It's like this,
I mean, I'm not comfortable. Like you said, for me, when I'm at the archery range, when I make a 100-yard shot and I hit exactly where I want to hit, it feels good. It builds confidence. It's just confidence for that 60-yard shot. And then the total archery challenge, just like most 3D shoots, it's a good tune-up right before season because they're 3D targets. Yep. They're hunting scenarios. The distance might be pushing it, but hey, still shooting your bow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, should be fun.
If you guys had like one hunt, one species to go after, like what would that be?
I'm really looking forward to hunting sheep, like doll sheep, stone sheep. Basically all
you got the sheep bug, huh?
Yeah, bad. And
I just don't have that.
Yeah,
maybe I will.
I always had because I remember when I was young, my grandpa would kill a ton of sheep.
Yeah,
back in Russia, Armenia, and just those countries. Back then, you didn't need a tag. You just go out, shoot a sheep, bring him home. And I remember seeing him,
Yeah.
And ever since growing up, that was my dream. But, they're expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Kind of built myself up to. So I think I'm going to plan for the next 3-4 years, start dialing in those hunts.
Start putting one together.
Yeah. That's my dream hunt.
Mark?
That's a tough one. I feel like I should, it should be something exotic, something that just isn't run of the mill. I'm fascinated by mule deer. And I've yet to take a really, trophy quality mule deer. Mm-hmm. I've been close, really close. So that's high, but I think maybe for me, I think it's moose would be like my dream scenario, which you've hunted them a couple times. Yeah.
Just once. But I was there for Aaron's hunt and then my hunt too.
Yeah. Like Yukon, the big boys. That'd be
I'm going this year.
Are you?
Yeah, on a hunt like that.
That's awesome.
Backcountry, like
big moose.
Deep. So I'm excited about that. That's a pretty, it's this every year I'm hoping to kind of go on some kind of grand, like remote adventure. Last year I was fortunate to go on a mountain goat hunt, deep in the backcountry there. I hate the float plains.
Yeah.
I hate the bush plains. Like if I could, that's the one thing I don't like is the travel.
Not a fan.
The travel. I don't like, and I think it's probably the most dangerous too. Like you could always get hurt while you're there. But man, the travel in and out of those remote regions,
countries,
those small aircraft are notorious.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like every time I'm in one, there's something almost that happens. It's like, why do I keep doing this? Can we just ride a horse all the way there? I'll ride a horse 30 miles. Screw the plane.
Yeah, it's not like getting your car, driving to Colorado.
I'm not a fan of horses.
I grew up with horses because I was on the other side of the tracks.
That's right. Yeah. You were still probably in horse and buggy. Yeah.
That's right. It was a bunch of farm kids and rednecks where I was at. Yeah. So, but yeah, moose for me so far I've always dreamt and wanted to hunt moose.
Yeah.
I gotta admit that they are really awesome and imposing and majestic. Like when they come walking and they're
it's huge.
And they're doing that. But after doing it, I was hopefully this doesn't bother any major moose hunters, but I love the animal.
Yeah.
And I have but they're not as alert and agile and like wary. Mm-hmm. They don't present the same kind of challenge with a bow that I think they're challenging for different reasons. Yeah. They're challenging because of the terrain. They're challenging because their size. They're challenging because they're just majestic and amazing. But as far as like the stock part, it's not that hard.
So kind of underwhelmed from that standpoint.
You're kind of underwhelmed, like, they're just so big and powerful, and you just walk up and shoot them. And I know I'm just comparing that to something like a Coues deer in Arizona, where
Or even elk.
or
Yeah.
even elk.
Yeah.
Thanks for ruining my moose dream.
No, I mean, no, I
Do you know what I mean, though?
no, I totally agree.
Can I
with you.
change my answer? Is it too late?
Every species is different, you know. Like
Yes.
when I hunt wild pigs in California, you're not really quiet, you know. You're like,
Yeah.
like just like bears, like you're running the last, you know,
Bit.
from 100,
Yep.
to catch up.
They're going to move.
Right, they're
Kids
going to move.
move.
They're easy to stalk.
Yeah.
I mean, once they scent you, they're gone, but they're easy to stalk. They're not like mule deer or
Right.
any, you know.
Exactly. And so I still appreciate every animal I hunt. I appreciate
exactly.
For sure.
the adventure for all sorts of reasons. But it became far less of a drive for me once I actually went out and hunted them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I was like geeking out on like, those are moose tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the one
There's
you
a
saw-
moose making noise. There's a moose calling. There's a moose raking a tree. Like I got
Right.
totally excited about all of that. But at the end, I was like, yeah, moose are not. They're not the sharpest tool in the shed. They're all brawn, not brains.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I find myself being more excited about the animals that are super brainy
They're
than
switched
the
on.
ones that are brawny.
Yeah.
And that's where I got real excited about the tar. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, they're way different than a mountain goat.
They are.
And same with you say mule deer. I'm like, wow, yeah, I really like hunting mule deer because and whitetail. Now I've seen, and I did spot and stock on whitetail. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like they're
Yeah.
so switched on, and Coues
Exactly.
deer.
Yeah.
So I find myself kind of just interested in those more brainy species. I don't know how else to describe it. You know,
That's a
I
hunt.
think you like the challenge of that hunt, of just the spot and stock of those animals.
Yeah.
Like you said, moose has a different challenge. It's the environmental challenge where they're at, swampy, deep stuff. You got to
Yep.
maneuver through. But spot and stalking mule deer in the west, you know, in open country, that's a different game.
You've got to do. You got to do like an Alberta Plains mule deer hunt or Eastern Colorado or something.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of a never ending list, you know,
Yeah.
of wants, you know, and you try to plan and you build points but
But at the end of the day, I'm finding that elk is the pinnacle,
I was just going to
and
say,
it's
yeah.
affordable,
Yeah.
over the counter. Anybody can do it, and you can find ones that will shake you in your boots.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The last year's elk that I killed just was a switch for me for elk.
Yeah,
I mean, if I don't hunt mule deer again and just focus on elk, I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Because when you have a big bull screaming in your face,
yeah. It's
pretty cool.
Strutting,
you can see him
Thrashing.
coming at you, responding to your calls, you
fighting
know,
other bulls.
fighting other bulls, the environment they live in, you know, the
Yep.
terrain, all that stuff you got to fight. It's just amazing.
Elk are special, dude.
yeah, they are. They're
being in
awesome.
I think we
the
take
woods.
them for granted because they're so accessible. They're so like I've asked this question: if sheep weren't so unattainable from a financial perspective, if they were running around as much as whitetail were,
Yeah.
would people have the same fascination with them?
Probably
Would they be
not.
like,
No.
And they were at one
I think,
point.
yeah,
You know?
but I
I
think the
mean-
fascination for me with sheep is the terrain they live in.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Just
why.
that.
That's why I like the tar is not only because of its wariness and its personality, but I also because of where it's at.
Exactly.
It's like
Just
every day we hit
usually-
those mountains in New Zealand. I'm like in their southern Alps. I was just like, wow,
It's incredible
Exactly.
down
And then,
there.
I mean,
Just-
you know, the wildlife videos you see or photos you see of sheep where they live, you're like,
yeah,
my God, like
yep,
Yeah.
you choose to live here. It's like this is your environment and you're going to conquer that environment. On top of that, conquer its senses to be able to arrow one.
yep.
And that's just a different challenge.
I've always been a goat guy.
Yeah.
Just I think that's why I'm so into the tar now too.
Goat's got your goat.
Goats got me. Like I've always been into goats, and I mean I like sheep, but yeah, I think goats are just cool.
They are. They are. Absolutely.
Well, guys, you got to get going because you have an early morning
Yes, we
shoot.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for coming down.
Thanks
and
for
hanging
having us.
out.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man.
You just landed from the airport.
Yeah. We were joking. I was telling him because we know some of the crack, you know, the back to camp. And I said, you know, we're actually going to be doing Gritty After Dark.
I know. We get such good intentions.
That's right.
Here's the thing in camp. The problem in camp is you go out and you're having a good time, and you don't want to throw headsets on and then like you only got like 4. You're like, okay, we're just going to do these guys.
Right.
But then also, you don't want to have a podcast till you've killed something.
Right.
Yeah. We can't kill anything till the last day.
That's why that thing happened.
So that was frustrating.
It was a great hunt.
Yeah, it was. And it was, thanks for having us. It was great to meet you and the rest of the crew.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
just great, man.
It really was just
All
an
you
incredible.
guys.
We're planning 2.0.
We got to do it.
So
we got to do it.
We talked about maybe lanai for axes,
Lanai,
or
we could do axes.
another bear or pig hunt or something. But
It could be anything. I think with that crew, I mean,
no, the fun for me in that, I mean, I love hunting bears.
Yeah.
Not the easiest to they are quite easy to sneak up on, but I think the reason I really like hunting bears is because they might turn around and kill you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that little bit adds such a level
rush.
of like respect to the chase.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It just, I don't know what it is. I just love hunting bears with a bow.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Something
100%.
about it. So maybe we do that again, but
We'll make 2.0 happen.
yeah,
we need
but I agree. It doesn't matter when you have good camaraderie and nobody's jealous of someone else's success. Maybe a little bit, but
Yeah, just
a touch
in a balanced
just
way.
so I can
But it was
just in the back of the shed with Noah's watching.
yeah. The off-camera
son
moment.
of a
You don't know I smashed my bow at the end of that trip. You have no idea.
You got a new bow for this. Right.
No, I think that's something that people don't understand about hunting.
Yeah.
That don't do it is the camaraderie and the brotherhood that comes from it. And
Exactly.
It's just there's something about it.
Yeah. Some of the best people I've met have been really some of the best people I know are bow hunters or hunters in general.
Just like Anthony, I met him bow hunting.
Yeah.
That guy
20,
that guy needs his own podcast.
Yeah.
Oh
'Cause
my
he's
gosh.
I just want to hear from him every day.
I mean, I could show you the text messages we've been going back and forth for the past week.
he is one of
He's
the
coming to visit.
most
so I'm gonna tell you.
intriguing and fascinating people.
Yeah, I got to get him on here.
He is
I gotta get him on here.
he is
But
a
like
piece of work.
I met him bow hunting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's one of my closest friends. This is 18 years ago.
Yeah.
It was that first bow hunt I killed my pig at.
Yeah.
So
great great guy,
it's a great
great
sport,
crew.
great people in it. So
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll have fun tomorrow.
All right,
buddy.
man.
Stay
Thanks.
gritty.
all right.
For sure.
Thanks, guys. Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself. What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals and the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.